Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Renewed calls for body-worn cameras after controversial police killing. Update from health and tourism officials on U.S. travel advisory impact. And later in sports, top 3 from girls class 3 200 meters through to the semifinals at Champs Day 3. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. The group of 59 orphans from the Haiti Children Private Charity are now being screened and processed at the Errol Flynn Marina in Portland. The children who have disabilities arrived in Jamaica by boat along with caregivers this morning. The group was received by a team from the Portland Health Department, the police, and the Jamaica Defense Force Coast Guard. After disembarking the boat, they were taken to tents set up at the marina, where they are being processed and fed. The Mustard Seed communities, which will be providing care for the children, told TVJ News yesterday that the process was facilitated and supported by the Ministries of Health, National Security, and Foreign Affairs. Director General of the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Staten, Carol Coy, says the issues with the payment of census workers will be sorted out shortly. There have been numerous complaints about the delay in payment by the government. This was the Director General at a census press briefing earlier this morning.
With the completion of the main data collection by contract workers, efforts are now focused on the processing of all outstanding payments to census workers. This process is taking longer than anticipated for several reasons, including the fact that some census workers have not completed the processes needed to facilitate payments. For those yet to be compensated, the non- and the partial submissions or inconsistencies of the visitation record, which is a critical part of the data collection process, pose a significant challenge.
Ms. Coy, however, noted that despite the issues, approximately 70% of the enumeration districts island-wide have already been interviewed for the census. She pointed to what will be the next steps.
The next phase of the census includes post-enumeration activities, such as the continued assessment of the undercoverage and supplemental data collection exercises as needed. These activities are informed by recommendations from the global statistics community in response to the challenges of the 2020 round of censuses.
Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, has renewed its call for the mandatory use of body-worn cameras by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. A recent police killing in St. Catherine has the victim's family demanding answers, and JFJ noting that the absence of body-worn cameras is fueling the distrust of the police. The renewed call follows the killing of 27-year-old Romario Sterling in Bogwalk, St. Catherine, in an alleged confrontation with the police. Relatives of Mr. Sterling are disputing the police's report on the incident. They have released a video purportedly from a surveillance camera at his home showing what appears to be a man identified as Mr. Sterling with his hands on his head, being instructed to kneel before a single explosion is heard. JFJ says it is deeply concerned by the discrepancies in the account of the police versus that of the family, particularly regarding the timing and circumstances leading to Mr. Sterling's death. Executive Director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, says the use of modern-day body-worn cameras by police officers could easily assist the state, the family, and the public in coming to terms with the true facts of this case.
Mr. Sterling's case highlights the need again for the full use of body-worn cameras by law enforcement officer. It cannot be that you have controversial deaths and you cannot utilize footage based on a regularized device provided by the state. Body-worn cameras protect us as citizens, but it also protects law enforcement. If it is that officers involved in fatal shootings have a different account than what may have been reported, then the footage from body-worn cameras could easily dispel of any allegation. If it is that we come in conflict with law enforcement, then the body-worn cameras and the footage from that would also protect us.
Ms. Jackson wants the political directorate to support the wide-scale use of the cameras.
JFJ is reiterating its call for members across both sides of the aisle, from the political leadership, to signal their commitment for body-worn cameras to be deployed and for protocols to be established and made public around how the footage from those body-worn cameras can aid in investigations as currently being undertaken by both Indicom and iProbe. We again reiterate our call for Dr. Blake, the newly installed police commissioner, to perhaps use this body-worn camera as part of his legacy of human rights policing.
More than a month after the U.S. issued a travel advisory amid concerns about the country's health sector, what has been done? Anthony Lugg spoke with Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton.
There was always a concern that the U.S. travel advisory issued in January would impact Jamaica's numbers for spring break. However, that has not stopped the promotion of events like Mocha Fest, one of the largest events on the spring break calendar. Delano Seavright is senior strategist in the tourism ministry.
We are already seeing very full flights coming into Jamaica for spring break. Big Rail, Montego Bay, along the North Boat through to St. Anne. If you check with the hotels and other accommodations, you will see very high occupancies. So far the spring break has been working very good for us.
The U.S. State Department in its travel advisory emphasized what it says is the under-resourced reality of Jamaican hospitals, which cannot always provide specialized care. U.S. citizens were further warned to obtain medical evacuation insurance before traveling to Jamaica. Almost 2 months later, we asked Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton whether adjustments have been made.
I am not aware that anything substantial has been done, except that we had taken some issue with the advisory, given that we have a triage process that deals with emergency cases wherever they are from and whomever is involved, including foreigners.
Dr. Tufton, while acknowledging there are issues within the healthcare sector, insists the system works.
Our infrastructure, though not perfect and does involve weight like anywhere else in the world, does provide a responsiveness that saves, many lives on a daily basis. So, to the extent that collaboration can take place to further bring clarity to the situation and to maybe, adjust if necessary, tweak if necessary to satisfy a particular market, that's something we're prepared to do once it is possible so to do.
The advisory came at a time when arrivals have reached record levels. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett, at a media briefing last month, told journalists that the ministry was taking no chances. A team was sent to meet with partners in the United States. But what is the data showing now?
Our 2024 numbers are looking very good so far. Our winter has held steady despite the travel advisory, which has had some impact, but more so minimal. But we're happy that our numbers continue to hold and we're continuing to see growth patterns ahead of 2023.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
The St. Mary Health Department says dengue cases are trending downward. However, there's a call for focus on properly storing water to decrease the risk of another outbreak. Details in this report from Karen Simpson.
Medical Officer for St. Mary, Dr. Tamara Henry, says while there's a significant reduction in case count across the parish, the health department has noticed a rise in the breath-use index in some communities. Speaking at the recent municipal corporation meeting, Dr. Henry noted that there was a peak in November last year. However, the team was able to normalize the numbers. She explained the importance of lowering the breath-use index.
We still have communities that have breath-use indices that are going to be pushing or propagating the outbreak. And if we do not halt this or put something in place to ensure that these indices decrease, we can have something big on our hand. Mr. Stevens, I've shared some communities with you already. This is just showing us in the Anata Bay area, we have Castleton, it's a breath-use index of 60, Chesterfield 46, Devon Penn 33, Friendship Gap 39, Orangefield is at 38.
Dr. Henry says there are several reasons for the indices going up.
These include the need for white goods removal. We have a solid waste issue that is at in some of these communities, drains that need to be cleaned out, improper storage of water. Because persons have to store water, they do not like sometimes to put the mesh over this, and so we have the mosquitoes breeding.
She says this could be problematic. It is why she's making this appeal.
For every female mosquito that we have, that mosquito can lay over 1,000 eggs in her lifetime. And just imagine if she has half of that is female mosquitoes. We're causing a big distress in the population. And so we really want assistance in regards to ensuring that our communities are storing water safely, because they need the water, but they need to do it safely, as well as overgrown vegetation.
Kerry-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Despite concerns of a disruption to the ongoing budget debate, the opposition People's National Party is expected to be present in Gordon House today. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness led a walkout by government members following comments by opposition leader Mark Golding during his presentation. Mr. Golding was critical of the optics of a Prime Minister's wife, Juliet Holness, being House Speaker, as well as controversial decisions she had made in that capacity. This led to an uproar in the House and government members walking out. Since then, there had been doubt as to whether the opposition would boycott the remainder of the budget debate. However, in a post on social media platform X, Mr. Golding has indicated that the opposition will be present for today's sitting. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is expected to make his contribution to the budget debate. And it's now time for the Business Minute. The government says the duty exemption will be removed from some fats and oils being imported for use as inputs in some manufactured goods under the Productive Input Relief Regime. The Ministry of Commerce says as of March 14, tariffs are being charged on items covered by Schedule 3 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. The Commerce Ministry says the withdrawal of exemption benefits to items on the Schedule 3 indicative list of goods produced will bring Jamaica in compliance with the CCJ's ruling and CARICOM's revised Treaty of Chaguaramas rules. Further afield, the U.S. Central Bank has left its key interest rate unchanged again while it looks for more evidence that inflation is coming under control. The decision kept the target range for the Federal Reserve's influential rate in the range of 5.25% to 5.5%, the highest in more than 2 decades. The Fed is debating whether higher borrowing costs have done enough to ease the pressures pushing up prices. Officials say they still expect to cut rates by the end of the year. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top region. And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Giovanni Dennis will have your midday sports report.